Anything successful has its ups, but they also have their downs. Just like Marvel and Disney, we're going to talk about 10 things DC would like you to forget about. Number 10, the Green Lantern movie. This film is one of the biggest mistakes DC has ever made. 2011 was a very bad year for the Green Lantern fans. Nothing is worse than having to watch your favorite superhero and a movie that was an absolute mess. DC fans really wanted to enjoy this movie, but they couldn't because there were way too many problems with it. The main reason why it sucked so much was because of the horrible writing. The script had some serious pacing issues and the editing was awful. Also, there were too many plot holes and the villain was lame. The biggest disappointment is that many fans wanted to see the other Lanterns like John Stewart and Kyle Rayner, but the movie only showed us Hal Jordan. Ryan Reynolds really tried his best, but it wasn't enough to save this movie. Number 9, All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. Frank Miller used to be considered one of the most talented comic book writers, but his work in the last 10 years had been a complete mess. It's hard to believe that he went from writing great comics like Batman The Dark Knight Returns to creating comics like All-Star Batman and Robin. The worst part about this comic is that Batman was very out of character. He's portrayed as a violent sociopath. He kills many criminals, which is against the moral code. Also, he treated Dick Grayson like garbage. Not only does he assault Dick, but he also forces him to hunt and cave vermin for food. At one point in this comic, Batman calls Robin retarded. But this is the worst Batman ever made. Everyone knows that Batman has always viewed Robin as his son, and that he would never do anything to hurt him. Number 8, The Killing Joke. There are so many great DC storylines, but for some reason, DC decided to make a movie about The Killing Joke. If you're a Barbara Gordon fan, then you probably hate the storyline. After shooting and paralyzing Barbara, the Joker tortured her in the worst way possible. He strips her naked and takes pictures of her, then sends it to her father. Many people believe that the Joker raped Batgirl, but that was not confirmed in the comic. It's obvious that the writers didn't really care about Batgirl and only made the storyline as a plot device to further Batman's story. This is already bad enough, but the movie somehow made it even worse. Barbara and Bruce have sex in the animated film, which literally made every fan puke. They've always seen each other as family, so making them have sex is absolutely disgusting. Number 7, Red Arrow becoming a heroin addict. Roy Harper is one of the most complicated characters in the DC universe. He's been through hell and back. In the comic, he becomes an anti-hero for many reasons. The first one being that he lost his daughter during an attack at Star City. His home was destroyed, he was abandoned by his mentor, and he lost his arm. Roy's life is just one big mess. In one comic, Roy falls into a dark place and it takes him a while to get out of it. He becomes addicted to heroin, which really affected his life as a hero. Black Canary stepped in and helped Roy recover from his addiction. This storyline is very iconic, but sadly, DC pretends as if it never existed. Almost every Arsenal fan knows that his character was ruined in the newer comics because his past storylines were erased. Number 6, Superman and Wonder Woman as a couple. No one knows what DC was thinking when they decided to make these two characters fall in love. They have a great friendship, but they just don't make any sense as a couple. It's very weird to see them in a relationship because Clark's soulmate is supposed to be Lois Lane, and Diana's soulmate is Steve Trevor. They had their own comic book series in N52, and they were a couple in the DC animated universe. Rebirth is the greatest thing to ever happen because it ended their relationship. Everyone knows that these characters are much better when they are not together. Clark is finally married to Lois and even has a child with her in Rebirth. Diana is getting over her relationship with Superman and will most likely get back with Steve. Number 5, too many characters way too soon. If the Justice League does not learn from the Avengers Age of Ultron's mistake, then they're gonna really get hurt badly because there is a huge problem. There are way too many big name superheroes set to appear in the Justice League. Half of them are not even in their own solo movie yet. So the question is, how the hell are the Warner Brothers going to even remotely have any character development for them and do justice to the characters without either making an absolute god-awful superhero movie mashup or create a 5-hour long movie that goes into great detail about each and every single character? We had 2 Captain America movies, 3 Iron Man movies, 2 Thor movies, and an Avengers movies to set up the character development before we saw Avengers Age of Ultron. Without those, I don't think we would have connected or cared about the Avengers as much. Number 4, 2 different universes, 2 different problems. DC faces a really big problem that's going to come to a full circle and bite them in the butt. They choose to make a separate TV universe from their movie universe. Initially, that sounded promising until a problem arose. The problem is that not only are fans going to be absolutely confused with different events and characters, but fans are going to prefer other actors. For example, what happens when we have two different Flashes running around? Will we vote for Ezra Miller or stay loyal to Grant Gustin? Some people believe that the Warner Brothers decided to go for the lazier and faster options of having two different universes in order to catch up with Marvel. Regardless if that's true or not, there are going to be problems with both universes. DC will be hurt more in the long run because unlike Marvel, they won't be able to fix their movies with a simple TV show explanation. In a nutshell, Warner Brothers just positioned themselves in a terrible spot to be at. Number 3, Wonder Woman is carrying the DCEU. DC put too much pressure on Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. For as long as DC movies have existed, DC has been forced to survive on multiple Batman and Superman reboots. Wonder Woman tried to come in swinging a few times in her own movie, but ended up failing. Now, the DCEU has the opportunity of a lifetime. The time is right. Since they nailed Wonder Woman and Batman vs Superman, they let her have her own solo movie and it could be the best thing for a superhero genre. The problem is that the world is waiting to see if this is the Wonder Woman they've been wanting for so long. If it's not, then everything that has to do with the DC universe is going to eventually fail. If the Warner Brothers cannot even get Wonder Woman to succeed in their universe, how in the world are they going to convince fans into seeing Aquaman or a new Green Lantern movie? If Wonder Woman fails, then the DCEU could very well fail as a company as well. Because who wants another DCEU that revolves solely around yet more Batman and Superman reboot movies? Number 2, the comparison problem. Let's all just admit it. We would hate to be in Jared Leto or Ben Affleck's shoes. Here's why. No matter what they do as actors, as either Batman or Joker, they're always going to be compared to possibly the greatest superhero trilogy of all time, The Dark Knight. There's no escaping it. Marvel had it easy because they had never made an Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor movie before they made the MCU. DC, on the other hand, has multiple Batman movies and multiple versions of the Joker. No matter what Warner Brothers does to set apart Jared Leto's Joker or Ben Affleck's Batman, the fans are just not going to be satisfied, which really isn't fair to DC. You can't have Jared Leto be better than Heath Ledger's mastermind portrayal, and quite frankly, no one's going to be able to accept a better Batman than Christian Bale. The Man of Steel is already being compared to other Superman movies. Wonder Woman is obviously going to be compared to her past movies, and the Green Lantern won't be able to escape his past movie. And number 1, Rotten Tomatoes. Marvel has done great with Rotten Tomatoes, getting high scores from the 80s to the 90s and almost near the hundreds. But on the other hand, DC has not been so great, and that's another reason most of their movies have been dropping like flies. Whenever a movie from DC is announced, such as Batman vs Superman or Suicide Squad, the world talks about it for days and weeks. Everyone is excited, and then when Rotten Tomato viewers watch it, it gets a low score. Batman vs Superman got a 28%, and Suicide Squad got a 27%. Clearly something is wrong that the critics don't like. And until DC can change that, a lot of the viewers are going to go based on the Rotten Tomatoes opinions. DC would probably want you to forget about all the scores except for the Batman trilogy, because those were just godlike. As always guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to comment down what you want to see next. I will see you all in the next video.